So when we look at the genealogies, our list of descendants coming down from Cain and Seth, we have these nice parallels. You know, it's just the same names being repeated, going all the way down. And then at some point they kind of deviate a little bit. And most people agree that these are just two different versions of a single genealogy. And then they just tack on one to Seth and one to Cain. Now, that always struck me as odd because you don't really keep track of the descendants of your enemies, especially if they're not going to play a role in the story anymore. So we don't need to know about Cain's descendants, you know, not by name at least. You know, we could say, okay, you know, this group of people who came from Cain are bad guys, but we don't need to know his son and grandson and so forth. But we have that information anyway. So something kind of rubbed me the wrong way at one point, and it got me thinking, could Cain have originally been a good guy in the Bible? Maybe not named Cain, but we had a good guy who was a descendant of Adam, and his lineage goes on to, basically create all of humanity, or maybe the Jewish people, whatever. And then at some point, the character was essentially split into two different characters because they were using this primal man figure in this story where he has a conflict with Abel. And now he's being cast as a bad guy, but they also need him as a good guy. So they make an alternate version of him named Seth and use the same genealogy that he has and say, okay, well, we don't come from the bad version. We come from the good version. Do you think something like that is possible?
Yeah, I think basically that's what happened in the New Testament with Paul and Simon Magus, that eventually there's this parting of the ways and they have to split them into two characters. Abel may originally have been Baal, and that his death was a sacrifice because the guy that kills him, Cain, is a farmer, right? And so that would be like Baal, the farmer's god, Baal or Abel being the sacrifice to fertilize the land for Cain's benefit. So that could have been lying behind this, and Cain is one of the several derivations of his name is that it's the same as the word for cornstalk. And in the Midrashim somewhere, I think it says that when baby Cain, as soon as he could walk, ran over and grabbed a cornstalk and brought it to Eve. And she was pretty surprised at the kid being that smart and said, let's name him Cain for that reason. Could be. Let's see. The two lists of names, they are identifiably variant versions of the name, as if you had Carl in one and Charles in the other. And so what's the deal there? Well, it's possible that that there were either several characters named that, or that he was a popular hero, which would explain why he's in different historical periods. Like he's afraid whoever finds me will kill me. Like who? Your mom? Your dad? Who are you talking about? Well, it presupposes, of course, there's loads of people there. It's not just them. And when he builds a city, for who? Nobody's there, and
well, if you build it, they will come. So,
and the death then is like Romulus and Remus, neither of whom was a bad guy, but one had to die to make the building of the city possible. Just like later on, to defend a city, some king sacrifices his son, not because he hates him, but because he loves him, because this is the tip-top sacrifice you could offer. Well, the mark of Cain might be a dead giveaway there, because like, what's it doing there? It has no further role in the story, but it implies that this is an etiological story for the Kenites, who's Canaan in one of the versions. They must have had a tribal tattoo and were fierce like the Vikings, warriors, so that when people would think to attack one of them, they'd say, whoops. Like I picture a bar fight in the making, and one of them is a Kenite, and his buddies had too much to drink, and he's getting pugnacious, and his friend said, hey, pal, this guy's a Kenite. You better calm down and get out of here. So that was the idea. You better stay away from us. Think twice, pal. I mean, it almost has to be something like that, a tribal tattoo of some sort. And what do we hear about the Kenites? They become allies of David because they're great warriors and all that. Yeah. They're not bad guys. They're rough customers.
It always just struck me as odd that this guy is, he's portrayed as a villain, but when you read the story, with the exception of him killing his brother, everything about him's good. Eve gets pregnant for him with the help of Yahweh, and then he invents farming to provide food for everyone. He builds the first city, and then when he commits the first murder, they have to invent a reason for him to not die for it. He doesn't even get punished. He just and the punishment he gets, it doesn't even make any sense. Oh, you will wander the earth forever, and then he takes 4 steps to the right and builds a city and settles down forever. It's like, okay, he's gonna kind of be a bad guy, but we're not gonna make him too bad. We're not actually gonna punish him and demonize him. We'll just kind of keep everything the same, except he gets this punishment, but not really. You have to wander forever in the city you just built and settle down in.
Yeah, this is one big reason, that and the population thing, which ties right into it. There's one big reason I think Cain is like Xena, warrior princess, or Prince Valiant in the comics, that they just figured, well, this character is in the ancient world, and why keep it straight? So Prince Valiant is talking to Roman soldiers in one episode, and to Muslims with turbans in another, with Vikings. What the heck? When did this guy live? Or Xena, holy mackerel. She meets Mary and Joseph on their way to Bethlehem. She meets Galen from the 2nd century. She's there with David and Goliath.
Well, Bill and Ted explain all of that for us.
I've never seen those.
They just grab people from history and move them all around in time, so that's fine. But yes, okay, so
it's just a patchwork of different stories about this hero.
Yeah, so Cain may be almost like Adam or Esau, a progenitor of a nation that, the father of the Kenites, and then he kind of got borrowed, but they were also kind of demonizing him. So like, okay, well, we need to make another version. Okay, we'll call that one Seth. Okay, cool, that's our ancestor. And that makes sense.
Seth becomes like a messianic figure in later Jewish tradition.
Yeah.
And he is the one who sought to get a leaf or whatever, a branch from the tree of life when Adam was on his deathbed. But the angel with the sword says, no, nothing doing. But I will give you this piece of wood, and it doesn't heal him. I guess he wanted fruit from the tree of life and didn't get it. But this piece of wood becomes in turn the staff of Moses, the wand of Solomon, and in Christian retellings, the basis for the cross. And Seth seems to, why did they replace Abel? Well, there was some messianic destiny. And so Seth, and I don't know if that has anything to do with Set from Egypt or not. I mean, the languages are completely different, so I don't know false cognate maybe, but I don't know. I can't help wondering if it does. And again, his Abel's death at the hands of Cain may not have been a murder originally. It may have been a human sacrifice like Abraham and Isaac.
Yeah.
As there were ancient alternate endings of that where Isaac was killed but resurrected.
Yeah.
And so who the heck knows?
Yeah. Of course, you in ancient times, before a great construction project, you would, offer a sacrifice before you build something like
Yep.
a palace, a temple, a city, something like that. And then the very next thing Cain does is go off and build
Yep.
a giant empty city.
It's exactly like
it's
Romulus and Remus.
Yeah, it's like it sounds to me like this is the origin story for the Kenites. Okay, yeah, here's where we came from. There was this man, and he had to sacrifice his brother to build the first city of the Kenites, and then it kind of got recast, into this this Jewish setting. So,
Russell, come here. Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Hit that like button, share this with a friend, and join our Patreons. It helps us grow. It really does. There's also one-time donation options. Just go down in the description. You'll see what I mean. Love you guys.